High Arbiter Thalvrin stood at the center of the great chamber on Nexus Prime. His feathers trembled slightly as he looked at the glowing screens around him. 40 species sat in their assigned seats. Most were silent. Some whispered urgently. The war against the Vorak swarm had lasted 18 months now. Entire worlds had vanished under the endless tide of chitin and hunger. The Council had tried every tactic. Diplomacy failed. Blockades crumbled. Fleets shattered against living walls of drones. Nothing stopped the swarm. A new alert flashed red across every display. Thalvrin felt his heart skip. The message came from Sector Gamma 9. A human exploratory fleet had entered contested space, without warning, without permission. The small group of human ships engaged a Vorak scout swarm and destroyed it completely in under 30 minutes. Reports said the humans used old kinetic weapons and fast attack craft. They boarded the larger Vorak vessels with small teams, and left no survivors. The chamber erupted in noise. Voices rose in every language. Translators struggled to keep up. The Kael'thar delegate, whose species lived for thousands of years, slammed his fist on the table. "We knew this day would come," he said. His voice carried the weight of old fear. The Avarin representative Festius spread his colorful wings in alarm. "We must act now," he cried, "before it spreads." Thalvrin raised one clawed hand for silence. The rune quieted slowly. He spoke in the calm tone trained for moments like this. "We have kept humanity contained for 2 centuries. Their system remains under observation. Their technology stays limited. They have no seat here. They have no vote. Yet now they move on their own." A holographic image appeared above the central podium. It showed the human ships, sleek and angular, cutting through Vorak formations with precision. One human cruiser fired a single volley that cracked a hive carrier in half. Another launched boarding pods straight into the enemy flagship. The feed cut to internal footage captured by a dying Vorak drone. Humans in heavy armor moved through dark corridors. They fought hand to hand against creatures 3 times their size. They did not retreat. They did not hesitate. One human laughed as he fired point blank into a swarm lord. The sound echoed through the chamber. Festius covered his face with one wing. "I cannot watch this," he whispered. "They enjoy it." The Kael'thar delegate leaned forward. "We remember the first contact. The human ship Vanguard faced our war fleet, 40 vessels to 1. They fought for 3 days straight. When we boarded, we found our warriors broken, not from weapons alone, from the sheer refusal to die. The humans kept coming. They used the environment. They turned our own traps against us. When the battle ended, the Vanguard still flew. Our fleet did not." Thalvrin nodded slowly. "That memory lives in our archives. We created the Human Containment Protocol to prevent escalation. Trade to keep them busy. We blocked military upgrades. We spread rumors of galactic dangers to keep them inward focused. We feared what happens when humans unite against a true enemy." A small reptilian delegate from the Zorath spoke next. "Then why do we panic now? The Vorak will crush them quickly. Humans are few. Their ships are primitive." Thalvrin turned to the delegate. "You speak from hope, not knowledge. Look again at the battle logs. The Vorak lost 7 broodmothers in that single engagement. Broodmothers are the heart of their hive mind. Without them, coordination fails. The humans did not target the main fleet. They struck the weak points only. They understood the structure in hours. What took our analysts months, they learned in a day." Silence fell over the chamber. The truth settled like cold mist. The humans were not just fighting. They were studying. They were adapting. Festius stood up. His voice shook. "We must send a message, a direct plea. We beg them to stay out. Explain the danger. We offer compensation. Anything to keep Earth silent." Thalvrin considered the idea. It carried risk. Direct contact might provoke them. yet doing nothing invited worse. He nodded. Very well. Prepare the delegation. Festius, you will lead it. Take the fastest courier ship. Reach the human embassy here on Nexus Prime. Deliver the message in person. Use every diplomatic channel. Open broadcast if needed. Make it clear, we do not want their help. Festius bowed and hurried from the chamber. His assistants followed, carrying data pads filled with prepared statements. The rest of the council watched the screens. The human fleet had already moved deeper into Varar's space. Another scout swarm vanished under their fire. Thalvrin remained standing. He stared at the hologram as it replayed the boarding action again and again. Humans moved with purpose. They fought as if born for it. Their faces showed no terror, only focus, and sometimes a strange joy. Simulations run in secret centuries ago. In every test where humans received full galactic technology, the war ended fast. Too fast. In some versions, humanity conquered half the known galaxy. In others, they simply removed the threat and vanished back to their blue world. The Council chose containment to avoid both futures. Now that choice unraveled. Festius reached the human embassy compound. It sat on a quiet corner of Nexus Prime, surrounded by high walls and security fields. The building looked plain compared to others. Simple gray stone with narrow windows. A human flag hung outside, red, white, and blue stripes with stars in one corner. Festius felt small as he approached the gate. Guards in dark uniforms met him. They carried rifles that looked ancient, yet deadly. One guard scanned the delegation, then spoke into a wrist device. "Visitors from the council, sir." The gate opened. Elena Voss stepped out to meet them. She wore a plain gray suit. Her hair was tied back. Stayed calm. Almost friendly. "Welcome," she said. "What brings the Galactic Council to our door?" Festius swallowed hard. He activated his translator and spoke clearly. "Ambassador Voss, the Galactic Council sends an urgent request. We face the Vorak swarm. They threaten many worlds. The war grows worse each day. We ask that humanity remain neutral. Keep Earth out of this conflict. Your involvement would complicate matters beyond measure. We will defeat the Vorak ourselves. Please stay back." Elena listened without interrupting. When Festius finished, she tilted her head slightly. "We hear your words," she said. "We will take it under advisement." Festius blinked. That was all. No promises, no anger, just those 5 words. He tried again. "Ambassador, we beg you. The swarm is endless. Your people would suffer greatly." Elena smiled a small, polite smile. "We understand the risk. Thank you for coming. We will discuss this carefully." She turned and walked back inside. The gate closed behind her. Stood frozen. His feathers drooped. The message had gone out, yet nothing felt resolved. Back in the council chamber, Thalvrin watched the exchange on live feed. He saw the smile on Elena Voss's face. He knew that look from old records. It meant nothing good. The humans had listened. They had nodded. They had said little. And now the galaxy waited to see what they would do next. Thalvrin dismissed the open session with a quiet gesture. The delegates filed out slowly. Many looked back at the central hologram, as if expecting it to change. The image still showed the human cruiser Endurance, drifting near the wreckage of a Vorak scout swarm. Small salvage drones moved among the debris, collecting samples. The humans worked with calm efficiency. They showed no rush, no fear. Thalvrin stayed behind. He activated a hidden panel in the podium. A secure archive unfolded in the air. Lines of encrypted data glowed blue. Only 3 beings in the galaxy held the key to this vault. Thalvrin himself, the ancient Kael'thar archivist named Lirath, and 1 retired Zorath intelligence officer who now lived in seclusion. He summoned Lirath through a private channel. The old Kael'thar appeared moments later. His tall form shimmered as the hollow stabilized. "You called for the forbidden records," Lirath said. His voice sounded tired, yet sharp. "Yes," Thalvrin replied. Longer pretend the past stays buried. Show me the first contact files. The ones we sealed after the Vanguard incident. Liroth hesitated, then nodded. The hologram shifted. Colors faded to gray tones. Old footage replaced the current battle logs. A small human vessel hung in space, surrounded by 40 Kael'thar warships. The date stamp read 4 centuries earlier. The humans had just discovered jump travel. Their ship carried explorers, scientists, and a handful of soldiers. No heavy weapons, no reinforcements. The Kael'thar fleet demanded surrender. The message repeated in every known language. The humans sent one reply. We do not bow. We talk as equals, or we fight. Negotiations lasted 6 hours. Then the shooting started. The Kael'thar ships fired precise energy lances. They expected quick victory. The human ship twisted away with impossible speed. It used every bit of nearby debris as cover. Small craft launched from its bays. They carried Marines in basic armor. The Marines boarded the nearest Kael'thar cruiser through a breached hull. What followed shocked the Kael'thar commanders. The humans did not fight like any known species. They moved forward, always forward. They used corridors, vents, maintenance shafts, anything to close distance. When energy weapons failed, they switched to blades and fists. They fought in zero gravity. They fought in smoke. They fought when wounded. One Marine lost an arm and kept shooting with the other. The Kael'thar warriors who faced them later described a feeling of endless pressure, like a tide that never stopped rising. The battle stretched over 3 full days. The Kael'thar boarded the Vanguard in turn. They found resistance at every turn. Traps made from ship parts, explosives from fuel cells, gas released from life support. The humans turned their own technology against them. In the end, the Kael'thar retreated. The Vanguard limped away with half its crew dead. Yet it flew home. The Kael'thar fleet lost 12 ships completely. Another 15 needed years of repair. Liroth paused the footage. A still image froze on screen. It showed a human Marine standing over a fallen Kael'thar warrior. The Marine held a broken energy rifle like a club. Blood covered his armor. His face showed no hate, only grim determination. We ran simulations afterward, Liroth said. Every scenario gave the same result. If the humans had access to our drives, our weapons, our shields, the war ends in their favor within 18 months. They do not conquer for land. They remove threats completely. Then they return home. We saw patterns of persistence hunting. They track enemies across systems. They starve supply lines. They break morale with targeted strikes. They use fear as a weapon without ever raising their voices. Thalvrin stared at the frozen image. Why did we not destroy them then? Because we feared the cost, Liroth answered. A full war would have cost us dearly. We chose another path. Containment. We limited their engines to short jumps. Civilian goods. We fed them stories of monsters in the dark. We encouraged their own divisions. We kept them looking inward. We told ourselves it was mercy. Thalvrin felt cold. He remembered the day the protocol passed. The vote had been nearly unanimous. Only one delegate objected, a young Averin, who later vanished under mysterious circumstances. The council buried the truth deep. They erased public records. They rewrote history books. Humanity became the quiet corner of the galaxy, the odd species that preferred its own world, the ones who traded art and stories, but never asked for more. Now, the Vorak changed everything. Thalvrin switched to another file. Classified war games from 2 centuries ago. In one test, humans received full access to galactic tech. In another, they stayed contained. Every contained scenario ended with slow human expansion. Peaceful at first, then faster when threatened. In the unrestricted scenarios, the results terrified the analysts. One run showed humanity dismantling an aggressive empire in 6 months. They used captured ships, They turned enemy weapons against their makers. They spread messages that caused rebellions. They hunted leaders across light years until none remained. The final simulation chilled Thalvrin most. In it, humans faced a hive mind like the Vorak. They did not negotiate. They did not retreat. They spread like infection. They boarded hive ships. They poisoned queens. They disrupted signals with noise and chaos. In the end, the hive collapsed. The humans stood over the ruins. Then they dismantled their own war machines and went home. They left warnings carved into asteroids. Never come back. Lyrath spoke softly. We feared not their strength alone. We feared their nature. They adapt too fast. They learn from pain. They turn weakness into advantage. They refuse to accept defeat as final. When cornered, they become creative in ways we find horrifying. Thalvrin closed the files. The chamber lights dimmed. Centuries on his shoulders. We kept them small, he said. We kept them safe from us and from themselves. Lyrath nodded. And now the swarm gives them purpose. A real enemy. A threat close enough to touch. Thalvrin turned to the window. Nexus Prime spun below. Bright cities covered the surface. Ships moved in endless streams. He thought of Elena Voss and her calm smile. She had said they would take it under advisement. Those words echoed like a warning. He opened a secure line to Festius. The delegation had returned from the embassy. Festius appeared on screen. His feathers looked wilted. Report, Thalvrin said. They listened, Festius answered. They made no promises. They showed no anger. The ambassador smiled and said they would discuss it. She offered us tea. We refused. Thalvrin felt a strange mix of relief and dread. No anger meant no immediate attack, yet the calm felt worse than rage. What do we do now? Festius asked. We watch, Thalvrin replied. We prepare. We hope they stay home, but we know better. He cut the connection. The chamber fell silent again. Thalvrin stood alone with the ghosts of old decisions. He looked at the stars beyond the window. Somewhere out there human ships moved. They carried people who remembered nothing of containment, only the instinct to protect what was theirs. The Council had tried to lock humanity away. Now the lock broke, and the galaxy would learn what happened when humans decided to step outside. 3 weeks passed after the plea reached. Earth public channels filled with noise. Memes spread fast. Jokes about alien panic. Videos of old wars mixed with funny edits. News anchors debated for hours. Some said, stay home. Others said, the swarm already threatens our outer colonies. Governments held closed meetings. Militaries moved ships quietly. Private companies shifted freighters, loaded with supplies that looked innocent, but hid weapons. Then the first sign appeared. A single human heavy cruiser dropped out of hyperspace near Clithera 4, a Vorak fortress world covered in hives and defense webs. The ship broadcast on every open frequency. This is the UNS Endurance. Humanity has taken the Council advice under consideration. We have decided to help. No demands, no threats, just those words. The message repeated in every language. The Vorak ignored it. They sent swarms of drones to overwhelm the lone ship. The Endurance did not run. It turned to face them. Its main guns spoke. Once, railgun rounds punched through the first wave like needles through cloth. Smaller fighters launched. They danced around the drones, with speed no Vorak pilot could match. Human pilots pushed their craft to limits that broke normal bodies, yet they kept flying. Boarding pods followed. The small metal tubes slammed into hive carriers. Human marines poured out. They wore armor made of layered graphene and ceramic. Plates looked thick, yet light. They carried rifles that fired solid slugs at high speed. No fancy energy beams, just metal moving very fast. The slugs tore through chitin like paper. Inside the hives, the fighting turned brutal. Vorak drones rushed in endless numbers. Humans met them head-on. They moved in teams of 4. They covered each other. They used cover. They flanked. They never stopped advancing. One Marine took a claw to the chest. His armor held. He fired back into the face of his attacker. Another Marine lost his rifle. He pulled a combat knife and kept going. He laughed over the comms as he fought. "This feels like home," he said. The Vorak synapse nodes began to falter. The hive mind relied on perfect links between queens and drones. When humans struck the nodes, confusion spread. Drones hesitated. Some turned on each other. The Endurance targeted only the key points: brood chambers, nerve clusters, relay ships. It ignored the main battle lines. It cut the strings that held the swarm together. In hours, the fortress world changed. Vorak coordination broke for the first time. Scouts reported panic signals from deep inside the hives. The humans did not claim victory. They salvaged parts. They scanned wreckage. They left messages in binary, carved into hulls. "Next time, stay away." The council watched every moment. Thalvrin sat in the private viewing room with Lyrath and Festius. The screens showed live feeds from probes. The Averin diplomat kept his wings folded tight. "This cannot continue," he whispered. "They fight like machines with souls." Lyrath nodded. "Like hunters. They do not seek glory. They seek the end of the threat." More human ships arrived, not in fleets, but alone or in pairs. A destroyer group hit a supply convoy. Another cruiser appeared near a Vorak staging area. They struck fast. They vanished. They left destruction behind. Each attack focused on weak links, logistics hubs, queen escorts, communication relays. The swarm felt the pressure. It bled in ways it never had before. On Earth, the mood shifted. People watched the feeds in bars and homes. They cheered quietly. They shared stories of grandparents who fought in old wars. They remembered persistence. They remembered never giving up. A quiet pride grew. No parades, no speeches, just resolve. The council tried again. Festius sent another message, this time to the Endurance directly. "Ambassador Voss, we implore you, stop now. The balance breaks. You risk everything." Elena Voss appeared on screen. She sat in her ready room with a cup of something hot in her hand. "We stopped nothing," she said. "We help where we see need. The swarm came too close. Your war became ours when it reached our borders. We finish what we start." Festius tried to argue. "The Vorak will adapt. They always do." Voss smiled thinly. "Then we adapt faster. Thank you for your concern." The connection closed. Festius turned to Thalvrin, his eyes wide. "They do not listen." Thalvrin felt the truth settle deep. They never did. Reports kept coming. A human marine squad boarded a queen ship alone. They fought through tunnels filled with acid and claws. They reached the queen chamber. They planted charges. They escaped as the ship tore itself apart from inside. The queen died screaming in the hive mind. The swarm felt the loss across sectors. Another story spread. A lone human fighter pilot lured a swarm into an asteroid field. He flew patterns no computer could predict. He drew the drones deep. Then he triggered mines hidden in the rocks. The explosion took hundreds of drones with them. The pilot ejected. His suit broadcast music as he drifted. Old human songs about defiance. The council chamber filled with fear again. Delegates spoke in hushed tones. The Kael'thar said, "We must prepare defenses." The Zorath said, "We must negotiate with the humans now." The Averine said, "We must pray." Thalvrin listened to them all. He knew prayers would not help. The humans moved with purpose. They learned the swarm patterns. They shared data across their ships. They improved with every fight. They turned horror into routine. One feed showed a human marine sitting on a captured hive platform. He ate something from a ration pack. Around him lay broken Vorak bodies. He looked at the camera drone and waved. "Hello, Galaxy," he said. "Nice to meet you properly." The council froze. No one laughed. Thalvrin stood up. "We wait," he said. "We watch. We hope they stop when the swarm falls." But deep inside, He knew the hope stayed small. Humans did not fight halfway. They finished. Remembered? They warned. Out in the black, the Endurance led a small group of ships toward the next target. They flew in formation, tight and sure. No fear showed on scanners. Only focus. Only the next step. The galaxy held its breath. It had begged humanity to stay away. Humanity answered in fire and steel, and the swarm learned what the Council always feared. When humans decide to help, nothing stands in their way for long. Months passed, and the war changed shape. Human ships appeared on every front, not in great fleets, but in sharp, sudden strikes. They came without warning. They left ruin behind. The Vorak swarm, which once rolled forward like an unstoppable wave, now stumbled. The hive mind felt pain it had never known. Queens died in protected chambers. Relay nodes exploded without cause. Swarms turned inward and tore at their own kind. Human Marines earned dark legends. They boarded hive ships through breaches they made themselves. They fought in tunnels lit only by emergency glows. They used captured Vorak weapons when their own ran dry. They ate enemy biomass when supplies failed. One squad survived 30 days inside a Queen carrier. They moved from deck to deck. They disabled engines. They poisoned air recyclers. They whispered jokes over comms to stay sane. When rescue came, the Marines walked out covered in ichor. They carried trophies of broken chitin. They smiled for the cameras. Watched in growing horror, Thalvrin called emergency sessions every day. Delegates argued louder each time. The Kael'thar wanted to pull back their fleets. The Averin begged for new talks with Earth. The Zorath suggested offering humans territory to keep them busy. Thalvrin listened, but said little. He knew words would not stop what had begun. One attack stood out. A human destroyer group found a Vorak supply convoy carrying fresh broodstock. They did not destroy the ships from range. They rammed the lead vessel with a specially prepared cruiser. The impact looked suicidal. Then the truth showed. The ram carried self-replicating hunter drones, tiny machines that spread through the hulls like rust. They ate wiring. They melted bulkheads. They targeted life support. The convoy ships drifted dead within hours. The drones finished their work and shut down. The humans salvaged what remained. They left the empty hulks as warnings. Another tactic spread fear. Music and videos appeared on Vorak Open channels. Strange human sounds mixed with flashing patterns. Synapse overload hit drones hard. Some queens screamed across the hive link. Others went silent forever. The Council traced the signals back to small probes dropped near relay nodes. The probes broadcast for days before self-destructing. Humans called it psychological warfare. The Vorak called it poison. Thalvrin met with Lirith in the sealed archive room again. The old Kael'thar pulled up new data. Human losses stayed low. Their wounded returned to fight. Their dead received quiet honors back home. No panic showed on Earth channels. Only steady resolve. Lirith spoke softly. They do not tire. They do not break. They grow stronger with every battle. Thestius joined them. His feathers had lost most of their color. He carried fresh reports. The swarm fractures in 3 sectors. Entire hive clusters go dark. We thought the humans would tire. We thought they would ask for help. They do not. They push harder. Nexus Prime looked peaceful below. Ships moved in calm patterns. Yet he felt the galaxy shift under his feet. We begged them to stay out, he said. Now we watch them end a war we could not win. Thestius shook his head. They do not end it cleanly. They make sure nothing like the Vorak rises again. Reports kept arriving. A marine unit landed on a Vorak nursery world. The final push came to the coreward black site system of Vexthar. The last Vorak queen mind hid there behind layers of fortress hives and guardian swarms. The Council gathered what remained of its strongest fleets. Kael'thar dreadnoughts, Averin carrier groups, Zorath stealth cruisers. They planned a careful joint assault. They wanted to contain the damage. They wanted to claim the victory themselves. They arrived too late. Human forces reached Vexthar first. The UNS Endurance led a compact strike group. 5 heavy cruisers, 10 destroyer escorts, hundreds of fighter craft. They dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation. No grand speeches, no waiting for allies. They moved straight to the heart of the enemy defenses. The Vorak threw everything at them. Endless waves of drones, living missiles made of flesh and acid, boarding swarms that covered hulls like locusts. The humans answered with focused fire. Railguns spoke in rhythm. Energy shields flared under impacts, yet held. Pods launched in salvos. Marines in reinforced suits crashed through outer layers. They fought their way inward. One squad reached a primary synapse hub. They planted shaped charges. They withdrew as the hub collapsed in fire. The hive mind recoiled in agony. Another human team infiltrated the central hive ship. They used stealth fields borrowed from captured tech. They moved silent through ventilation shafts. They avoided patrols. They reached the Queen Chamber. The Queen Mind towered over them, a massive pulsing organism linked to thousands of lesser queens. Its psychic scream shook the minds of every creature nearby. The Marines did not flinch. They set demolition packs. They activated timers. They fought their way back out. Drones chased them. They turned and fought hand to hand. They lost people. They kept moving. The charges went off. The Queen ship split open along its length. Psychic backlash ripped through the swarm. Entire sectors went dark. Hive clusters froze mid-attack. Ships drifted. Without purpose, drones attacked each other in confusion. The once unified mind shattered into fragments. Each fragment fought alone. Each fragment died alone. Human ships circled the wreckage. They scanned for survivors. They found none. They began salvage operations. Teams in heavy suits moved among the debris. They tagged useful components. They marked dangerous remnants. They worked with quiet efficiency. No cheers, no victory dances, just the steady rhythm of people finishing a job. The Council fleet arrived hours later. They found the system quiet, except for the hum of human engines. Thalvrin stood on the bridge of the lead Kael'thar vessel. He stared at the view screen. The debris field stretched far. Chitin fragments floated in slow orbits. Human salvage craft darted between them like careful insects. Elena Voss appeared on the main comm channel. Her face looked calm as always. "High Arbiter," she said, "the threat is ended. The Vorak Queen Mind no longer exists. The swarm dies with..." Thalvrin felt his feathers rise in unease. "You acted without us," he said. "You ignored every protocol." "We acted because the swarm threatened our home," Voss replied. "Your plea reached us. We took it under advisement. We decided the only safe path was complete removal. We kept our word. We stayed out of your war until it became ours." Thalvrin looked around his bridge. Officers stood silent. Some showed relief. Others showed fear. He spoke again. "Why so thoroughly? Why leave nothing behind?" Voss paused for a moment. "Because when something tries to destroy what we love, we do not do half measures. We finish it. We make sure nothing like it ever tries again. We do this not for conquest. We do this for safety." She leaned closer to the camera. "The galaxy is large. Threats will come again. When they do, you may call us, or you may not. Either way we will know. We will watch. We will act if needed. That is our nature." The connection closed. Thalvrin turned away. Ships already departing. Some headed coreward. Others turned toward the edge of known space. They left the field clean. They left warnings etched into the largest hull fragments in every major language. Never return. Back on Nexus Prime, the Council met one last time. Delegates filled the chamber, yet few spoke. The air felt heavy. Thalvrin took the podium. He looked at each face. He saw understanding in some. He saw dread in others. We no longer contain humanity, he said. We never truly did. We delayed, we hid, we feared. Now the truth stands clear. They protect what is theirs with everything they have. They adapt. They endure. They finish. When we face the next darkness, we will not ask how to stop it. We will ask whether to tell the humans, or whether to pray they never learn of it themselves. No one argued. No vote came. No new protocols passed. The chamber emptied slowly. Delegates walked out in silence. Some looked toward the stars with new respect. Others with quiet terror. Stories spread across worlds. Traders told tales in ports. Scientists shared data in labs. Children listened to lessons in schools. They spoke of the swarm that ate stars. They spoke of the council that begged for peace. They spoke of the quiet blue world that answered with thunder. On Earth, life continued. People worked, people laughed, people built. New ships launched, new colonies grew. Yet in quiet rooms, leaders met. They reviewed old battles. They studied new stars. They kept watch, not out of hunger for war, but out of simple truth. When the galaxy called for help, humanity listened. Then humanity answered. And the stars remembered. Never beg humans to stay out of a fight. They will only see it as invitation. They will come. They will finish. They will go home. And the galaxy will breathe easier, knowing they exist.